Hello, YouTube. I'm back. It's only been a few days, but I just felt the need to do this now instead of waiting because it just is something that I'm really feeling right now. So I'm doing a quick podcast to answer a comment that was made on my last podcast. So let's get started here. Welcome back to the Don't Stop Me Now podcast, where being negative can be a good thing and being positive can turn the world against you. Hello, it's your HIV positive host, Miss Jennifer Lee Vaughn, and this is episode number 106, a very impromptu. I just needed to get on here and talk before I let this go podcast. So my last podcast that I did was about an HIV cure, and I told some stories about my past, and I think that was about it. I talked about that Netflix documentary, American Nightmare, and just some other little odds and ends. But I had a comment on there about my dating life that had nothing to do with that last podcast, but somebody felt the need to express their feelings about me dating at 53 and me dating with HIV. And so I read her comment, and I have to say, I was like, first of all, I was kind of blown away because I didn't remember talking about anything regarding dating in that last podcast. So I don't know what brought on this comment, for one. And so then I read it, and I was like, oh, I'll read it to you guys. I'll read it. I was just taken aback by it in so many ways. And I shared it with my close friends on Instagram because I was wondering what their thoughts were. And I knew that they would support me, but my gosh, did they support me? Not only that, people on YouTube supported me as well. And I didn't expect that. I really wondered how many people would kind of chime in and take her side because maybe they had felt the same way, or they were glad that somebody finally expressed it. But that wasn't the case at all. In fact, I had so much support. I'm just blown away by it all. So I really wanted to do just a little follow-up podcast to talk about my feelings with regards to what she said to me and how I feel about what I share in general. I will say, when I get on here and come in this room, I'm in my house, I'm talking to a microphone. I know I'm being recorded, but in general, I feel like I'm talking to my friends. And that's why I do this podcast, because it feels like I've got support out there for just being HIV positive, being a woman in my 50s, dating, single, all of it. And I've met some amazing people through the internet that I'm like good friends with just through the internet, that hopefully I'll meet in life in person someday. But, yeah, I do feel like I have like this really cool community. And so that's why I share, because I feel safe in sharing with people. I don't think about the fact that there's probably people that listen to this that are not interested in hearing what I have to say. So then again, I kind of don't get why they listen, or if they don't like what I say or do, why they would feel the need to take so much time to write a comment that might potentially make me feel bad, knowing that I will read it. And, I've held off. There's a podcast that I listen to with two women that I really like. And there's one on there that kind of everything she says, not everything, a lot of things she says bothers me. I feel like she's a very special snowflake. She's got every kind of like little special disorder that's out there. And she always refers to her ADHD, and the list goes on and on. And I've wanted to write to them, but I like them. So I like the one host better than the other. And I've wanted to say something so bad, like, how do you put up with her? Like, how do you put up with all of the shit that she says? She's such a baby about everything, And I haven't. I never have, because for one thing, they could block me from their show. And then another thing is that she would read it, and it would make me feel bad knowing that she might read my comment and it would make her feel bad later. So I have never left a comment for these two people, but it would be in regards to one of them. But I've never done it it's just in my head. And sometimes I just get annoyed with things that she says. So I just put on another podcast, or I fast forward through her mumbo jumbo or whatever she's, always feeling special about, but I just fast forward through it. And that's kind of what I would think most people would do in general. But this person felt the need to write to me. So before I begin and share her comment, somebody had shared with me, did I print it out? Please tell me I did. I guess I didn't. Oh, bummer. I thought I did. It was about, let me see if I can find it really fast. It was about the HIV cure, which was on the last podcast that I did. I could have sworn I just printed this. And now I've deleted it. And he wrote out, did I put it here? Okay, hold on. I wrote, I just feel like it's an important thing to share because it was somebody that sent me some information on how that whole CRISPR technology works. And I think it's really interesting. If it's not here, then I'll just, oh, here it is. So this is a quote from an article from the chief medical officer speaking with CGT Live. Is that chat? GBT? No, CGT Live. I don't know what CGT Live is, but it's Dr. Marcus, Conant. He says, quote, using gene therapy with a lentivirus. By the way, my eyelid has been spasming for like 6 days now, and it's doing it right now. And it's driving me crazy. And they say basically rest and like no stress. I've been on vacation for 9 days and I've been sleeping in every day. We'll fix it, but it has not fixed it. It's driving me crazy. Anyways, using gene therapy with a lentivirus, we are actually introducing microRNAs to block the intake of HIV into cells. Okay, so we're introducing microRNAs to block the intake of HIV into cells so that the HIV virus will still attach to the CD4 receptor on the outside of the cell, I believe, but the confirmatory protein isn't there and the virus can't enter the cell. So what this means is that we are producing T cells, CD4 cells, which will kill HIV infected cells, but the HIV virus cannot kill those cells. So we're producing T cells, which will kill HIV infected cells, but the HIV virus cannot kill those T cells. So yeah, the cells are killing the virus. The virus isn't killing the cells. So that's what it comes down to. And I think that's fascinating. And let's hope they can figure this shit out. I mean, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but I mean, it's nice to know that they're kind of getting somewhere. Probably won't happen in my lifetime again. I'm fine with that. Okay, yeah. I just saw my HIV doctor and I was thinking, was there anything that I wanted to share about anything? Just that she only has had 5 patients on Cabenuva, and 4 of them have decided not to do it. And basically these were people that were having trouble staying compliant to their medication. They couldn't take their medication on time, or they'd forget or whatever. So that's why they were really, I'm not truly a candidate. It's really for people who have trouble like forgetting to take their medication and staying in care, basically. So I don't know, the stories were sort of different between the 4 that decided not to do it. One, she said, became not violently, but like really had an adverse reaction that was really kind of traumatic. And so she stopped, or he stopped. She actually didn't confirm whether any of them were female. I think they're all male. And then the other 3, for whatever reason, it was a lot of just not wanting to come back into the office so often, because that is, that's part of it. You have to have the injection done there. And then there was just the one person now that that was fine with it. She didn't know that it had switched every 4 months. So she made a note of that she was going to have to look that up, because I was like, yeah, I mean, that was on the internet like 2 weeks ago. So maybe I'm helping out one of her patients. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so this, I got all my printouts here. This is from Nigella 86, Naijella 86, and I share her name because this is a public comment. So, and I'm not doing this to have people come and attack her. I feel like it's been said enough in the comments back to her that she's aware that she kind of lost this fight. So I'm not doing this to have anybody else attack her, but like the comments there. So I'm not taking it down. And I printed this shit out fast because I was worried that she would delete her comment and then all of the comments below it would disappear. So I got it all. She hasn't deleted it yet, but I got them all. So she starts off, I don't have HIV, but I remember seeing your first ever video and feeling bad, but I need to be real with you. So if you were HIV negative and you had a one night stand with someone and then you stumbled on their YouTube channel where they detailed that they had HIV, they were HIV positive, how would you feel? I can only imagine how difficult it would be to share this information with a total stranger, but I'm going to be honest, Jennifer, you're in your 50s and you've got children and your sexual behavior is like that of a young woman who is having a wild time. I've been watching you on and off for over the years, and a couple of weeks ago I realized that between being infected by the bisexual guy you were with and finding out your diagnosis, you had had unprotected sex with quite a few men, and I'm just wondering why you behaved like that. I'm almost 38 and I'm still on a single digit body count, and I haven't been with anyone in approaching 6 years now. Don't you think you should adjust your attitude towards sex? I mean, don't your children watch your videos? How do you feel hearing about your sex? How do they feel about hearing about your sexual escapades? So much to unpack here. Okay, let's start with, I don't know. Well, there's a lot of sex shaming for one thing, and I will get to that. But let me just, I can only be the one to answer for my kids, except for if my kids are right here, they can answer them for themselves. But I can tell you right away that my daughters and I are very, very close. They are like my girlfriends. They're my go-tos. I tell them everything. So anything that's said on here, they know more than what's ever said on here. They know every detail, like everything. And they are so rad. My daughters are the best. I made 2 best friends. I don't know how I did that, but I literally made my best friends. There's nothing I can't tell them. There's nothing they can't tell me. And that's just how our relationship is. My oldest, Joey's 23. She'll be 24 in September. Ryan is almost 21. I love my relationship with them. They're the most rad chicks ever. And I don't know what I would do without them. They are like literally my best friends. So we have that kind of relationship. I don't know. I can tell them anything. And so they're not ashamed of me at all. They're very proud of me. They may laugh about stuff that I might have said on my podcast and say, oh my God, cringe mom or whatever, but they don't. Joey doesn't listen to my podcast for one thing. She's got better things to do. Ryan sometimes does. I don't know how much she does recently, but she said she used to like to fall asleep to listening to her mommy talk, and she, which is so cute. She would put her phone under her pillow and listen to me while she fell asleep. Owen, on the other hand, will be 17 soon. And I have told him, don't listen to my podcast. Please do not listen to my podcast. I don't want you listening to it. Did I not hit record on here? Oh my God. Okay, no, I did. I was just about to say I'm going to kill myself. I thought maybe I didn't record on it. No, I did. Okay, good. Yeah, I've warned him. And sometimes he'll joke and say, I'm going to listen to your podcast. I said, don't. I mean, obviously at some age, he maybe will. He knows there's probably stuff there he doesn't want to hear. Yeah, for sure. And I'm aware of that. But he's also aware that I really don't want him listening to it. He's a young guy. So yeah. And like, to tell you the truth, I'm sure people will say, what about his friends and stuff like that? I don't think his friends have a clue that I have a podcast, nor do I think they give a shit if they did know or are listening. So I'm not worried about that. That's never come up. And I've been doing this since it's been 4 years now. So nobody's, no one's, none of his friends' parents have called me and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're putting that out there. And like my son heard your podcast, like nothing like that's ever happened. So yeah, not worried about that. That's that part of it. As far as my age and dating, honey, like I am so blessed to be able to date at my age and have men that are 20 years younger than me still interested in somebody who's in their 50s. Like I feel so incredibly lucky. And I know like this isn't going to last long. How much longer will I have, young 30-year-olds interested in me? Maybe a few more years, who knows, but it's not going to last long. So I'm taking advantage of it while I can. That's like, I only have this life. This isn't my only life. It's your only life. This is how I'm choosing to live it. It is not hurting anybody. at all. And I don't know why she feels the need or felt the need to tell me how I'm wrong for this. Like, that's crazy, but we'll get into that more. People have totally answered that for me. I mean, and good for her that she's 38 and has single digits. Like, that's her prerogative. Like, it shouldn't matter if I wanted to be with a different partner every day. It's my life. I can do whatever I want with my body and my life. So let's get into some of the replies from people. So this was one that came up almost immediately. This was from I don't know how to say Bacher. I'd say Bacher 100. I love you. I don't know who you are, but you're rad. You wrote like 3 times to her. He says, so you're shaming her for having sex with multiple partners at her age and sharing it online, or because of that, plus the fact that she's HIV positive. And he says, I feel like it's the latter. So she says she needs to slow down sexually. She's also placing herself at risk because some men would want to kill her upon finding out she's concealed her HIV status from them after they had sex, regardless of whether female to male. That happened one time. And it was because I was in a Facebook group with this individual. We didn't know we were in the same Facebook group locally. And yeah, funny thing is I know nothing about his status or anything. He had me over. He kind of liquored me up and things happened fast. And I didn't have, this was like probably 3 years ago. I didn't feel like I had a chance to say anything. And I already know in my head, like, there's nothing for him. There's nothing that will happen to him. It's more so that I need to worry about me if I'm going to get something from him. So he contacts me like 3 weeks later and he's panicking because he says he's met someone in the last 3 weeks and he doesn't want to give her anything. I said, well, I can't give anything to you anyway. So like, I send him screenshots of my medical information, like to show that I've been undetectable for how many years it had been at that point. He was happy, not happy, but I mean, he accepted the information and said, okay, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to like explain that to me. And that was it. I never heard from him again. Again, he probably cheated on his girlfriend is what it was. And he was freaking out that maybe he had it and he was going to give it to her. That's the bottom line. So of course, no one's going to look at that aspect of it. They're just going to look at the fact that I didn't say anything to him in the moment. Yet this guy did get me a little drunk in I think it was his parents' house, honestly. I don't even think it was his place. And he got the ball rolling real quick. Did he bring out a condom? No. Did he give me his sexual health information prior to us having sex? No. But it's funny that I will be considered the bad guy because I didn't share that, even though I can't give it to him. Okay, so there was that. That's the only time that's ever happened. Have I kind of worried about that? More so only that someone will feel duped in a moment and then they'll have to like freak out for a second. And then it's fine. I would take the time to explain it. Am I worried about my safety? No. Like, that's so extreme. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm not dealing with dudes that are going to come and kill me. I mean, Jesus. So anyways, I mean, I don't have the best judge of character in the people that I choose to hang out with, but I do have kind of a type, and no one's trying to kill people. Like, no one's out here trying to kill people. Like, come on now. So anyways, then she says, I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but that attitude got you into this situation to begin with. Okay. You stated you weren't protecting yourself, and when you found out the guy you were with had sex with other men, you kept seeing him. Okay, well, that wasn't a reason for me to break up with him. He was already living in my house, and I loved him at that point. This was a rekindled relationship. I was willing to take that information and continue to see him because he said it was a thing of his past, that he was, had been doing drugs, and like that was kind of coinciding with the sex with men or trans women. Obviously, we had had that discussion. I've explained that many times through my social media, that he and I had that talk, and that he said, well, if you need me to test again, I'm pretty sure I'm negative. I tested in Long Beach. Again, it was all put back on me because it was going to be something I would have to pay for. I had no idea what it would cost. I thought it was like going to be like $200 that I didn't have. He was already living here. I really saw bigger dreams with him that he was going to become a realtor. We were going to have like our own house together. we always talked about a hot tub, stupid shit like that. So, it wasn't like this information came up and I'm going to kick him to the curb, which is what she thought I should have done. I thought I had a future with this person. And so I was willing to look past that part of his past, knowing it wasn't part of his present or future, and move past it. Everybody does things that maybe they're not proud of or whatever, or it was just a moment. But why should I shun him or kick him out of my life because he had been with men or been with trans women? It was just part of his past, and I had accepted that. So that's where that stands. So maybe that's where she would put her foot down, and good for her, but I didn't. So, and I'm not going to feel bad about that. Okay. And I just wrote back, attitude, that's straight up blaming me for getting HIV. I thoroughly explained how it went down between he and I felt safe in our discussion. It's sad that you must come on here and try to shame me. I have been so honest with my audience. I guess it cut it off. It doesn't matter. So anyways, there's somebody here who says, VVBD7273 says, so there is an age to have sex and a frequency one should respect? ? And then the emoji. Good point. And then Diane Roberts, 1522, says she didn't get HIV from having sex with random men. She contracted it from having sex with one man whom she was in love with. So you have no right to judge her. Thank you, Diane. Bonster, this is my friend Bonnie in Montreal. She says, she could have been anyone. You never know who or how you're going to get it. I'm a self-proclaimed prude with single-digit body count, and I think it's wonderful. Lee is so confident in her sexuality. Oh shoot, where'd I find it? There was more to that. I thought I had these all in order. Hold on, Bonnie. I know it's here. Oh yeah, here we go. There it is. She could have been anyone. She's a grown-ass woman doing what she wants with grown-ass men. She doesn't conceal her status. Do they even ask? No, of course they don't. Never. Do they ever bring it up? No, because they don't care. So who's actually reckless here? Thank you. Besides the fact that there is a little thing called U equals U that I truly appreciate Lee for educating people on, I'd have had a shitload more sex in my day when I was younger had I not been so afraid of HIV. So thank you, Bonnie, for that. She says, people need to sit down and stop judging. It's her lifestyle. If her lifestyle bothers you, don't follow her. Exactly. Okay. I'm trying to not repeat anything. Someone says, this user says, the name's kind of like a long one, so it's all like letters and numbers. She says, nah, why are you blaming her for having HIV? She's well-educated and she knows that it can't be possible for her to infect anyone through sex. Don't make her feel less. She's healthy and happy. Thank you so much. And continuing on, she says, this is the main reason why people fear HIV, not that they're going to die or something, but the isolation from the ignorant people. Let her live her best life and be happy, support her. And it gets me choked up. Not judging when you're not perfect. This is also true. Nobody's perfect. So let's see. Phil 84761 says, please don't shame someone for the way they choose to live their life, and don't blame someone for contracting HIV. Lee, keep doing what you're doing. I was diagnosed with HIV last year, a total shock and unexpected. Turns out I'd been living with it for 10 years at the time. Me and my partner have been together all that time. We have an idea of who had it first, but can't say for certain. But either way, there's no resentment. I struggle some days with the diagnosis, mostly because of stigma in society. And because of that stigma, I've only told 2 of my closest friends whom I would trust with my life, and they've been brilliant. I'm undetectable and plan on staying that way. Once I get emotional. I gotta like get that to go away. I've learned so much. Oh, this guy must be from England, because he wrote, I've learned with a T, learned so much this past year. It's never talked about, and so people have misconceptions about it, including myself. The information I thought I knew was outdated, he put. I stumbled across your channel llast week. It's been enlightening and makes you realize you're not alone. So just want to say thank you. You've helped me to no end. I've learned again, that in the UK, we don't say I'm positive or I have HIV, we say I'm living with HIV. They don't use the term AIDS. We use stage 1, stage 2, etc. Stage 1 is seroconversion. Stage 2 is asymptomatic. Stage 3, and he says I was stage 3, had started to show some symptoms, mostly minor symptoms. Stage 4 is late stage. That is what I had, stage 4. Since diagnosis, I've come to the conclusion that life is for living, and that's exactly what I'm doing. My consultant thinks I'm a long-term slow progressor, that probably is doctor, and thinks it's been because of a gene I have called HLA-B37 immune gene. I am right in thinking you're on Dovato. Yes, I am. That's the medication I'm on, and I feel healthier on it. The triple combo I was on prior gave me some side effects and started to affect my kidneys. Sorry for the long message, laugh out loud. You're totally fine. And maybe you were on Triumec like I had been, and I did have a small side effect with that as well. Phil, thank you for your comment. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is from Nitro Girl, who had commented a few times, I think, here. She says, as females, we can't win. We just can't win. She says, I get shamed for only having one partner in my life, my husband, and Jen's getting shamed for having too many. Honestly, nobody needs to worry about what's going on in between the sheets of other people's homes. True. Onatah, it's ONATAH 2180 says, love your podcast, exclamation and a heart. Your openness in general and about dating makes it so much more intriguing and interesting. Don't let fellow travelers, I think they meant followers, tell you how things should be done. People who feel the need to judge other people for their choices aren't in a great place. Oh God, there was more to it, but it cut off. Someone just said, praise God. I will never stop, quote unquote, because I had said that before. They said thank you and put a heart. That was from Super GGO, GGO, I don't know. Okay, and then Marshmallow 7192 said you could just mind your business. Carrie GRLL 5318 says it may feel like you're the odd one out, but I understand where you were coming from and the point you were trying to convey. I'm assuming, and this is in reference to that comment, she says, I'm assuming that you were likely raised religious and had certain moral values instilled in you. I understand your point. This person did follow me on Instagram, and I looked at her Instagram pictures. I mean, I'm not judging, but she's far from innocent looking. I'm just going to say that. So, I mean, and it's fine if she has single digits and all that, but she's got some pretty provocative pictures on her Instagram. So I don't know. I'll just stop it there. Okay. And then she says back, she put it out there. So comment is fair game. And I've kind of already talked about that. Like, yeah, there's a podcast I listen to and I could comment on it and tell them how I feel about how this certain person is kind of a big snowflake, but I'm not going to. Like, that's not why the comment section is available to you. It's not to be rude and give opinions that might hurt the host's feelings. And I know that that is a pretty big podcast, and I know that they would read it. One of them would read that comment, and I know that it would make that one host feel bad, and I don't want to do that. So that's just me. Okay. And then Marshmallow wrote back to her and said, no, that's not how it works in regards to like feeling like you have this freedom to just write whatever you want. Okay, this is from my friend Caroline, who follows me, or we follow each other on Instagram. She says, and she is HIV positive, and her comment literally made me cry last night. She says, hi, Nigella, you missed her whole point. If you have been following her, you would know what she's fighting for, who she's fighting for, us women. Your mindset is the reason we women living with HIV feel like shit. You do realize at any point it could have been you. You do realize that, right? Regardless what your sex life is, right? She is continuing her life like normal, in all caps, with a pill a day. She is doing and sharing all of this so women know about men and the DL men out there who are infecting us women with no remorse whatsoever. Her dating stories changed my life, woman. All her stories. In fact, so stop, for real, the love of God, blaming her or any other woman, for real, wanting to have a normal life, living with this virus. You wouldn't have a problem with anyone's sex life if they weren't positive. So I have a strong feeling you have a problem with the virus and disease itself, not her sex life. If you follow her, she literally just said she makes them wear protection so they can't come back and blame her for real, for anything. And for the most part, that is the case. There have been circumstances where that hasn't happened. Usually some kind of altered state has been involved, so there hasn't been always protection. And a lot of times those people already knew. She's learning too, so please learn to be kinder to your own gender. Understand people before you so quickly throw negative judgments and impose your own beliefs. Damn men, what she's doing is helping thousands of women all over the world. I just can't anymore with people who think we are to be blamed when it could have easily have been them. Oh, please, before you come for me, I'm HIV positive, 23 years and counting. So please, Nigella, stop and change how you treat and think about this virus and how it affects women. I am not crying about Nigella. I am crying about how I just have this amazing, amazing community. And I mean, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that I'd be in this place at 53 years old with freaking HIV and a podcast and talking to the public about my sex life or trying to stand up for women with HIV. Like, it's mind-blowing. Anyways, someone else says she contracted it because of her ex-boyfriend and they made peace with each other. I don't understand why you wanted to make a fuss about it. Please understand no one expects to get HIV and many HIV patients aren't promiscuous. Even if someone gets HIV due to promiscuity, it's their choice and you have no right to shame them. Word. That was from OLP. Reagan K. Smith says, I appreciate how open you are about sex. Keep on keeping on. Okay, these were some private DMs that were sent to me when I shared this comment in my close friends story. So I'm not going to say their names because these were sent to me as private messages. Someone says, wow, okay, fuck this lady. So condescending and rude for no reason. Some people just like to have sex and we don't need a prude telling us how we should spend our time. We're not out here shaming her for being boring. So why does she think she has the right to shame you for having fun? So fucked up. She says, like, seriously, reading that comment made my blood boil. What a bitch. This is actually from my niece. She says, Jesus, seriously, I don't know why that lady even feels the need to tell you this. It's wild. Keep your opinion to yourself, biatch. This is from another friend on my close friend story. Female, please don't let one person's opinion change what you share on your podcast. So many of us can relate to your stories and the ups and downs of dating. Your realness is on another level, and so many of us appreciate your openness. From another woman who's HIV, I think HIV positive. I'm not positive. Let's see. I can't remember if she was or not. I don't think she is. She says, don't stop telling us about your dates on the podcast, exclamation. You show us women in our 50s that love and sex don't have anything to do with age. Society wants us to believe we should retire and stop dreaming and having fun. And then she's got a double emoji. Okay. This one is from a woman living in Africa who is a friend on my close friend story. And I want to say she's in Nairobi, but I'm not 100% sure. She is positive. She says she's HIV positive. She says people are against people with HIV being sexually active, period, and it's BS. Our life will not stop just because of a disease that anyone could get. Can't people see just how stigmatizing telling us not to date or have sexual encounters even we can never transmit? I said that wrong. Even we can never... let me see, I'm reading that wrong. She's got a question mark. Can't people just see how stigmatizing telling us not to date or have sexual encounters even we can never transmit? That's stigma. Keep going, you. You're brave, and I wish I was as brave. You're giving people living with HIV a lease on life. Forget the rest of the condescending bozos on their high horse who think life is a straight line. God forbid their kids get HIV, then maybe they'll learn empathy and that life happens to everyone. This is so true, and that's another part of it, is that nobody does anything perfectly. That's what I wanted to make clear to her, is that, like, nobody wants HIV. Nobody did anything. I didn't do anything that could have truly prevented it. I mean, how many times have I talked about women who are trusting their partners, and they're in monogamous relationships and then they get HIV. So are they to blame too that they didn't test more often, like every month or every other day, because they didn't know they were being exposed? I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? And it still happens. Like, this virus is going to continue to happen unless they come up with a cure. This last one, I just loved. It says, I work senior living. I love my sexually active old people. I know she's not saying I'm an old person, but I just think it's kind of funny. Get it on as long as you can, girlfriend. And I will. In fact, I did last night. All right, I'm going to end it there. You guys have a good one. I hope this was enlightening for those who are HIV negative, and I hope it was helpful for those who are HIV positive. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. It really does give me joy. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, YouTube.